What's up, everybody? So I'm doing video numero dos this week, only because some stuff came up and I was like, why not, you know? So let's just get right into it. Basically, and I have riding alongside here my passenger, my Chipotle for dinner tonight at work. I thought I'd just shoot this while I was on my way to work. So if you guys don't already know, I work like a late shift, just because I work in a plant where it never shuts down, so it's just constantly operating. But anyways, off from the tangent. On my way back from Mexico this weekend, I ran into a Lamborghini, and normally, like, I always see nice cars when I'm in the Z06, and they don't really want to race or anything, or they don't really want to do anything. And I just figured, like, oh, you know, I was pulling up and I saw the taillights and I was like, oh, this looks like a Lambo. And I pulled up next to it, and then I saw it was a Murcielago. At this point, I like revved it and, you know, just kind of pulled ahead of him, and I was like, maybe he's not really going to do anything, and he didn't at first. So after that, you know, he pulled up, to my surprise, next to me, and he just drove next to me for the longest time, and then he rolled down his window, and he looked at me, and he was like,
it don't matter if you win by an inch or a mile. Winning's winning.
And I was just like, whoa, this guy wants to race. And that's basically how it went down. And then he started racing me. He pulled ahead of me. It was like that scene in the Fast and the Furious. And I was just like super bummed out. I lost. And that's basically how it went down. I'm just kidding. That's actually not how it went down. So what actually happened is everything up until when he pulled next to me did happen. And I was pretty surprised, so I turned on, luckily I have the performance data recorder in the car, and I turned that on, and it was pretty empty. I was on my way back at like 1 a.m., you know, coming back from a trip in Ensenada, you know, going up through Tijuana and everything, and I saw this guy, and he pulled up next to me to my surprise, and he was like probably like 40 years old or so, and actually, at the time, I didn't even know this, but he was driving a 40th anniversary Lamborghini Murcielago. It's a pretty clean Murcielago, though. It's a hella nice color. It's like this turquoise blue. I don't know. The PDR's recording like at night isn't that good. Let me see. He has his window down right now. I knew it was different just because I saw the rims on it, and they looked way different than those regular super ugly stock Murcielago rims. I don't know if you guys know what I'm talking about, but they're like these chrome, like 5-spoke, super huge. There's like no holes in it. It's like very, very minor boring, like in the side, but they're probably the ugliest rims by any supercar manufacturer ever made. And so those weren't on that car. Well, they're like a modified version of them. If you guys know what the 40th anniversary Lamborghini Murcielago looks like, you'll see in the video as I pull it up in a little bit. But anyways, I'll get to the value of that car. And you know, I had watched the video about Solomon Drin talking about, you know, special edition Lamborghinis, how they're not worth shit. And that's basically true. Because after this all happened, you know, I looked up the value of this car and what it's worth now today, and it's really not much. But I'll let you guys know how much it's worth at the end of this video. But so he pulled up next to me, and he actually turned on the light in his car and then started lighting up a cigar. And I was like, what the hell is this guy doing? And then at this point, he finally just pulls, like, he just floors it and like goes way ahead of me. So I was like, all right, let me just go ahead and do the same. And I pulled up next to him, and he didn't really do much. I was hoping like we would do a pull together, but he didn't want to do that. So I just pulled ahead of him, and then I slowed down a bit, and then he just did the same. So it was kind of like some back and forth with that. Unfortunately, I wish it was a lot more interesting, but he seemed like he didn't really want to, you know, go head to head with my car versus his car. And I think it would have been a pretty good matchup, being that the Murcielago specs at that time were pretty close to what the Z06 is now, you know, for a $300,000 car versus like an $80,000 car. But like I said, he didn't really go against me head to head. It was more of just like him pulling ahead of me, and then I would pull next to him, and then back and forth, like I said. And then eventually, you know, he pulled off the freeway, and as he was pulling off, he gave me a thumbs up. And then, you know, he was smoking his cigar and then drove off. His light was on in the car. But yeah, I will show you guys some clips of that. like get it in the video, you know. It's a pretty clean Murcielago, though. It's a hella nice color. Like this turquoise color. I don't know the So that's basically what happened. And so after this all happened, I was showing my cousin the video, and it turns out that this Lamborghini was, the one he was driving was a 40th anniversary Lamborghini Murcielago. So apparently they released, you know, like a 25th anniversary for Lamborghini, which was like the Countach version, and then they released the, you know, or it might have been the Diablo version. I'm honestly forgetting off the top of my head right now, but they released one for the Diablo, they released one for the Countach, and then they did it for the Murcielago. And the Murcielago version was retailed at $300,000. It was this jade blue, which you guys see in the video, and then it had like an anticrite black covering on the wheels, and then it also had it basically had non-matching seats on the interior. The driver's seat was like a gray and black, and then the passenger seat was just all black. So I was like, whoa, this car, you know, this guy's smoking a cigar in his car. He doesn't even care, you know, it's like a collector's edition and whatnot. So I went and did my research, and I started looking up how much these 40th anniversary Lamborghinis go for, because I remember seeing a video on Solomon Drin's page. If you guys don't follow him, it's just Solomon Drin. That's his YouTube. Really cool page. You guys should definitely go check it out if you haven't already. But if you're probably here, you probably looked at that page. So I went to go see how much this car was actually worth, and I actually started looking up listings, and I found one for $139,000. It had roughly, I want to say it was like 26,000 miles on it or something. You know, which isn't like super bad for that type of car, but it was still like a bit, but it had gone down in price. There was no value held by this car whatsoever. There was no, like, there was no like up value because the car was special edition. And honestly, there was actually other Murcielagos that were worth way more. And actually the Murcielagos that were worth the most were the 2010 Murcielagos. And those were going actually for like above MSRP, what they were selling for originally. But yeah, so it came out in 2004. This Murcielago had no, you know, it hadn't appreciated whatsoever in value, and I was pretty surprised. And I found another one actually listed at like $150K a while back on a Craigslist ad, and it was actually being sold right here next to me in Morgan Hill. So for all I know, it could have been that same Murcielago. But yeah, so I just wanted to talk about that, show you guys that clip, and that's really it for this video. But if you guys did like the video, do subscribe to the channel, and I will see you guys next week.